You know, I like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. The sailing, the islands, the pirate life made it one of the most memorable open world games of its generation. So when rumors about the full remake started, I really paid attention. From the past year and a half, we mostly had whispers, but the recent deep dive from the French outlet that we recently received put a lot of specific claims on the table. I wanted to translate that report and look into what it says, and I'll be going through every detail that we have learned about the game as well. So the remake is reportedly led by Ubisoft Singapore. That matters because the studio helped build the naval tech and water simulation for the original Black Flag, and later in some of the other Assassin's Creed games as well. Now, they also created many pirate assets for Skull and Bones, and according to the leaks, Ubisoft Singapore is reusing and adapting those assets, ship models, animations, and naval systems for the remake. Reusing assets can save time and let the team focus on polishing and expanding the game. Now, timing is quite uncertain. The leaks say that the team targeting in early of 2026, but of course that could always slip. Other Assassin's Creed projects and internal delays have shuffled the schedules. Earlier plans for the holiday reveal may have been moved to the spring. Now, the industry is just unpredictable, so treat the date as a tentative until Ubisoft confirms it. The remake is reportedly using the modern engine tech from an Assassin's Creed Shadows. One big result would be the seamless transition between ship and shore. Old loading screens for docking or leaving a port could finally be disappeared. If true, you can sail into the Havana or Kingston and step off your ship without loading those stupid long loadings, but that actually would make exploration feel smoother and more natural. Now, the map may not get dramatically bigger, but many small islands will be rebuilt and filled with content. In the original, many islands were just decoration with a chest or two. Now, the remake reportedly turns those islands into real places with missions, hunting zones, mini quests, and events. That should make exploration far more rewarding. Combat and systems will change as well, at least to a certain degree. The original Black Flag used more of a paired animation combat system. Attacks often led to a choreography, kind of a finisher. They look very cool though. And the leaks say that the remake moves a little more closer towards the modern RPG style combat. Hitbox driven fights, weapon stats, loot, and a larger inventory systems like it was introduced in the Origins and Odyssey, and of course Valhalla. Weapons and tools will likely have stats and rarities, and the old scripted finishers may be reduced in favor of a more of a dynamic, responsive combat. This makes the game easier for new players, but also changes the original's feel. I'm honestly open to that, but I want to try it for myself before I can judge on this. Because of the combat changes, the inventory and loot systems are being expanded. Expect weapon upgrades, armor pieces, and more detailed upgrades trees for both Edward and the ship. That links to the rumored deeper ship customization like hull upgrades, different cannon types, sail options that affect handling, crew upgrades, and cosmetic choices for the ship's look. You might change your ship to be faster, tougher, and more heavy armed depending of course of your playstyle. Now, modern day sequences could be greatly reduced. In fact, there's even talks that it could be completely removed. The original game had modern kind of a framing scenes that some players found slow. Personally for me, I just didn't care much about them. And the rumors say that the remake will cut much of that meta-narrative and add more pirate content early on instead. Some of the cut storylines from 2013, like cut content from Mary Read, may be actually restored to the historical campaign rather than as a modern-day segments. Now, the leaks even suggest a few extra hours of pirate gameplay to replace or remove modern sequences. That should improve pacing for players who mainly want a historical experience. Voice acting and the narrative will likely be updated. The leaks indicate re-recorded lines and new performances to match changes in terms of the scenes and restore content on top of that. Expect clearer delivery, more cinematic scenes, and updated motion capture for key moments. Updated voice work would help the story land better in a modern release. And graphically, expect major improvements. Using the Shadows engine should bring better lighting, more realistic water and reflections, improved particles and weather effects, higher resolution textures, and better character models. If Ubisoft delivers on these targets, Black Flag could look much closer to modern Assassin's Creed games with stronger visuals and more believable environments. AI and behavior systems may be improved as well. Enemy captains might make smarter choices in the sea battles, crews could respond better during the boarding, NPCs on islands may follow daily routines and react to combat or fire. Animals and wildlife AI could act more realistically. These enhancements would make the world feel more alive and less scripted. So the ship combat could become deeper and more tactical as well. Expect kind of a finer control over the volley timing. Better damage modeling where hits affects sails, hulls, or rudder separately. Varied enemy ships classes with different roles and more of a tactical boarding mechanics. These changes would make naval fights less repetitive and more strategic. Now, multiple options are possible, but not exactly clear. Ubisoft has explored online sea games before, so the remake could include optional co-op missions, competitive ship battles, or perhaps just a pure online features. But the current leaks focus mainly on a single-player upgrades and do not confirm major live services plans. Now, there's also kind of a practical benefits to reusing Skull and Bones assets. Those assets likely include ship models, rigid systems, some animations, and naval mechanisms. Using them lets Ubisoft Singapore speed up the development and concentrate on polishing the world, adding content and improving systems rather than rebuilding basic pirate tech from the scratch. Take all of this as informed kind of a rumor until Ubisoft confirms the details. The main claims are Ubisoft Singapore is leading the project, Skull and Bones assets are being reused, modern day sequences may be reduced or removed, combat and inventory are shifted towards more of an RPG style system, small islands will be filled with far more content, the Shadows engine will be used to remove loading screens, ship customizations and naval combats will be far deeper, voice acting and graphics will indeed be updated, and AI behavior could be improved. The target release is reportedly early of 2026, but of course that date could still change. I'm genuinely excited for this sailing into this world of Black Flag. Richer islands, smarter ship fights, and restored story content. Oh man, I'm so down and I cannot wait to get my hands on this experience. I loved Black Flag Remake, and now seeing what they got in store and a lot of things that I've mentioned in here as well. This kind of got me more excited. Hopefully we will see the trailer or some kind of a breakdown for this game sooner rather than later. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys. Do let me know as well, what do you think about this remake? Do you like the direction that they're heading in? Or perhaps maybe you're a little bit disappointed with some aspects that are being changed. Perhaps particularly would be the combat part. Because I feel like a lot of people will feel pretty bad about the combat because, maybe they wanted more of an old school style, or perhaps maybe they liked it more of an RPG style of an Assassin's Creed games. But nevertheless, tell me down in the comments, I would love to read them. Alright, like and subscribe, I'll see you guys all, and yeah, have a wonderful day.